second. It's take a couple of seconds to be ready. Just give it. I'll tell you when we can start. I will start with the introduction, and then we can go into the topics. Hi, we are live. Thanks so much for getting back into the show. This is Mohammed Abu Shanabi, and you can always call me Mo. We are in the episode of the Global Expat podcast, and we have a very interesting guest with us today. We have never been met actually, but we have been internet friends of a couple of months, and we have we're starting something like a mini series out of the Global Expat podcast, something very interesting. And I would like to let Frankie introduce himself, what he would like to do, and his amazing idea or amazing venture called Plan X Conference.
Sure. Thank you, Mo. Thank you for that short intro. I'd like to introduce myself. Hey, everyone. I'm Frankie, founder of Plan X, and your co-host for this podcast. So, me and Mo, we're starting a mini series about where the world is headed right now, in terms of, global movement, with modern founders, that are so pretty much, look, I'm the founder of Plan X and your co-host for this podcast. So I'm not a lawyer, a banker, or a guru. I'm someone who went through the global relocation journey myself, confused, overwhelmed, and unsure who to trust. That pretty much led me to build Plan X, which is a platform where modern founders, investors, and global citizens can finally cut through the noise and find real answers. And this podcast is an extension of that mission. No fluff, no hype, no bullshit. So just clear conversations with the people shaping the new borderless world today. Thanks,
Amazing.
Mo.
That's very interesting. And I mean, just a very interesting question, because it's this has come to my mind the first time we met. I mean, where the name Plan X coming from? Have you tried to use a couple of names and then you decided to use Plan X, or was an idea that come because we have an interesting guest before, and his business name come to him during he was taking a shower. So if you guess the backstory of Plan X and how it's happened, and why you decided to use this interesting name.
Yeah, definitely. So I was going through my own relocation journey myself, and I essentially was sitting, like, I was in the shower, and I was thinking to myself, I need a plan, right? I need a plan B besides from plan A. I was just reflecting back, during COVID when the borders were shut. In Australia, our borders in Melbourne, we were locked down for over 156 days, like pretty much almost half the year, right? But then, like, it was on and off for almost 2 years, and that was an issue. So I thought to myself, okay, we like I do not ever want to get stuck in one location ever again. And so, you know, so I just thought to myself, I need a plan, and that's when I went into the journey of thinking of looking into the offshore industry, thinking of how do I diversify my risk, right? How do I spread my flags into different jurisdictions? And so that pretty much came to the idea of having Plan X as the name.
That was 2020 or after? Or
Sorry. Oh, no,
that was
no, no.
2020.
No, so that was right after COVID. So we've completed COVID 2021. So that's pretty much when the Melburnian government decided to let us open shops, let people out of their house and everything else.
I mean, by the way, I've been following different governments have been following: the Singaporean government, the Australian government, New Zealand government, British government for sure, US and Canada. And the most restricted country, was Australia, because it was not allowing anyone in or out. So it was like a big jail. And I've seen people with I'm sure created a lot of mental health problems, and people were reconsider or remanaging everything. Living in Melbourne or Australia is amazing. It's an amazing country. We'll not be able to deny this, but stuck in a place is a very horrible situation. Yeah, and I've experienced myself. I travel in April 2020 between London and Marsh, and I was the only one in the airport, and it was like a traveling in the Woodward too, because they have to ask for documents. I have to get the reasons why I'm traveling. The only reason they let me travel between London and Berlin in April during the um, um, highest of the lockdown, because I have a business in Berlin. I have a business in London. I used to have an apartment in Berlin, and they don't let me into the apartment. I have to get into the hotel. The hotel doesn't allow me to book in until I get a confirmation from the government. So it was a horrible situation doing this. Just a couple of weeks before it, everything was fine. Nothing happened. So it's just a lot of mind change that goes through. Even I used to idea of traveling between countries, but at this time the world went to crazy, and no one want to live in the same situation again. That's very interesting to know. So the plan X is that you are planning to have a conference next year in Dubai, and the conference will get into the people who are would like to live freely, invest in second citizenship, lower their taxes, building, also link it to cryptocurrency, and there is a lot of things related to what you're trying to do. So if you give us a little bit of introduction about the Plan X idea, the conference, and how you would like to do in the next couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I haven't really thought too far about, the next couple of years from Plan X, but I do think a lot. Like, I've been, obsessing about the same idea for the last, past couple of years already. So this first edition is is basically what my primary focus is at the moment. It's pretty much bringing together the top experts, the highly trusted, vetted people in the industry. So I understand that within the CBI industry, investment industry, immigration industry, as you mentioned before, we've discussed this previously. Like there are a lot of cowboys, and you just don't know who to trust, right? You just don't know if you're paying fair value for let's say for a passport in St. Kitts, for example, right? How do you know you're paying fair value? You just don't know, right? But you're trusting on that person to provide you with the best value possible. Even though that information is all out there, right? But you gotta pay for that. You gotta pay for that trust regardless. Um, so yeah, so back to the format. Pretty much, we want to bring together the experts in the field within different categories, not just CBI, not just in the immigration space, not just in the offshore space. We also want to bring in global recruiters, global fintech brands. We want to bring in you know anything to do with global business, to be honest. Anyone that's embracing global citizenship, we want to be at the forefront of it, bringing these experts on that stage. And so the idea is for the attendees who are curious about about globalizing, globalize, globalizing themselves. um, they'll come to the conference, they learn the knowledge from these experts from the stage, and then from the exhibition floor, we'll have these experts or brands will have their exhibition booths, and so from there they can connect with the attendees who are curious. So the idea is that when you go to conferences, they either have the knowledge but you don't have the people to meet, right? Or they have the people to meet, or they give you basic knowledge, like very, very surface level knowledge where you don't really combine the two. And so for me, it's important to drive this transformation for the attendees. So when these attendees that come through, that's what we want, because events are about experience and transformation. They come in, you provide an experience, they get a feeling or they get something out of it, which is value. And that's what I'm seeing these days with traditional conferences. You come in, they sell you into like a 50K course, or like, you're being sold into a 50K sales funnel, and you lose the trust, right? And where does it, but then at the same time, people find value from there with the network effect, right? We're amongst each other. And I think that's what's important with most events. When they don't, when they don't, when they don't execute on the exhibition and the conference properly, they usually say, hey, at least I just met one person, and that one person pretty much made up for the whole event, right? Because if I paid $500, I met that one person could be, could be a potential business partner, who knows?
Yeah, I
So
totally
yeah.
understand. Yeah, totally agree. So coming back to the many episodes that we will have between Global Expat and Plan X, we have decided to come up with the different topics, but we, for the next 10 many episodes that we will have, I will go through them one by one, and then we can discuss like a mini introduction about each one and the idea behind it, if we have enough time to go through today.
Yeah.
The first one is the Plan B mindset. Why now is the time to act? So um, what do you think about this? I mean, the plan B is, I mean, also now people talk about, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, so people was amused about plan B. Now they have plan B, C, A, X, and Z and Y.
Yeah.
So what's behind the plan B mindset?
What Plan B really means in 2025? Does it mean a second passport? Does it mean an exit option? Does it mean a backup banking jurisdiction? Or is it something deeper? Is it like a philosophy change for, people's mindset? I think it's a mindset shift in 2025, and that's what we're seeing with the whole political landscape changing. You know, it's uncertainty right now, right? And so people for the past 20 years were in la la land, right? They were said, okay, the markets are never going to crash. Real estate will always go up. Governments will always play ball. No, governments have totally locked down on you ever since COVID, and I think that's something to be aware. People are aware of that, because the world is so interconnected now with information and the internet, and now they're separating between what is real and what is fake, and we can see that, right? You'd have independent, news outlets. You have, the right wing. You got the left wing, and I think to your question, I think that what Plan B means is it's a complete mindset shift of people, the way of thinking of life
Yeah. So
and culture. Yeah,
can't I agree? Yes, definitely, definitely. One of the things, the plan B for someone could be second passport. A plan B for someone else could be a second apartment or second house in a different city, in a different country. So it doesn't
yeah,
have to be something amazing or something. It could be very simple. Just I would like to take out the stress and go to somewhere else where I consider be a second home or place just to get out of the steam or enjoy myself. So that's the idea. Okay, the second episode we have is the rise of the digital first global founders. And I mean, you mentioned that the world is now is very interconnected. Whatever happened in Australia, we get instantly know it in the UK or Canada. There's no borders anymore. So what is the idea behind the first digital first global founders?
yeah. I think you can also answer that quite well, Mo, just because you yourself are quite digital as well. Being quite proactive on the online space amongst um, I wouldn't say that there isn't a lot of global service providers that are very proactive online. So yeah, what it means, yeah, digital first founders, like there's a new wave of entrepreneurs. It's called the new global class, I call them. Um, you have Gen Zs, you have early millennials, and they're all moving into the digital age, right? We're in the digital age right now. We got AI. Um, Everyone's thinking remote. The teams are being leaner now. There's no offices anymore. There's more co-working space. You're finding global talent everywhere. We're in a different age right now. Those days of working in your office 5 days a week are long gone. Try getting your workers to come in 5 days a week. No, that's that they don't they call that unfair work culture.
Yes, that's right. It's not as easy as before. I mean, even there's some people try to call it like hybrid, but everything now is remote first. I mean, whatever you are starting a business or a venture or just a hobby, you have to deal with different vendors and partners and clients in different locations. There is no one location anymore. So, I mean, if you come to your idea, you you started Plan X in Australia, and then you register it somewhere else. You have another company in another jurisdiction, or you plan to do everything from Australia at the first.
Yeah, so Planex is registered in Dubai.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
and
Planex is
yeah,
registered in Dubai, and the trademark
and
is also registered as well.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
and why you didn't do everything from Australia? I know the answer, but I'm trying to tease you.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense just because Dubai is pretty much. I think the Dubai as a foundation for Plan X, it just makes sense. You know, all the entrepreneurs, 142,000 millionaires are relocating into 2025. A majority of that are moving to Dubai. Right now, Dubai has 81,000 high net worth individuals living there, and more that's moving there this year. So it just makes sense, Dubai being at the forefront of this whole new global era of um, of global citizens. It just makes sense for it to be there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And okay, going to the third episode now. This is something about
Yeah,
that I will be leading this, but the title is my journey. It's talking about myself, what I've
yeah,
been seeing, advising 10K clients during the last 20 years. I mean, actually, I was the first client. I was advising myself. I've done all the mistakes. I've opened a
yeah,
lot of, you can say, I've I've gone through all the scams and opened a lot of businesses and companies in more than 50 plus countries, even in very remote islands, and no one's heard about it. Just I go through the process myself, so it will be a learning curve. So I was the first customer. I was
mm,
advising myself and others, and then I take the lead and take it into something. And then a couple of years ago, I started to put into the businesses, and then I was trying to mix between a hybrid business and a remote business. And then now it's 100% remote, but still we have offices on the ground. We have to advise people. The idea about advising anyone, it's like a journey. The most hard thing to change, it's not about the money, it's not about the strategy, it's not about choosing Singapore or Dubai. You yourself choosing to register your business in Dubai. It could be Singapore, Hong Kong, Mauritius, Cayman Island, Dubai, UK, whatever, or US. But the idea is not about the location, it's about the decision and the mindset. If you can take you can say a couple of years or a lot of time thinking about the decision when I will take it, or I'll wait, maybe something will happen in X place, so I will do it. But the decision time and the mindset is the most important thing. It's not about how much money you have. I know a lot of clients who have a little bit, you can say, have a very limited wealth, but you
yep,
use the wealth they have very professionally, and they get the most out of it. And I know a lot of clients who are extremely wealthy, but they get the bad advice and they put themselves into, you can say, the bad corner. And
Mm,
once you create a problem, once you start with something with it's like a long, it's like the movie, um, the next destination, or the wrong turn. If you go to the wrong turn,
yeah,
it's much better to restart again, and
yeah.
instead of fixing the wrong turn. That's the idea. That's why it's taking a lot of mindset to a change, to accept it. And and you have to understand and you have to accept that when you go offshore, or when you go beyond your home country, people are different, rules are different. Don't expect that everything will be the same. It could be much more easier, could be much more harder, but it's a learning curve, and you have to accept it, that it will take you time until you get into the mindset and understand the rules and regulations and the culture on the other side. Because when you deal with people in other countries, they have a different mentality and thinking from yourself. But at the end of the day, everyone is the same. We just have different labels, or you can say brands, and it's like it's always start with the decision and then the mindset change. Yeah, that's was my yeah. Let's go to episode number 4. It's about global consultants. What's changing in 2025?
Mm. And
What
you
do you think
probably have
about
a better
this?
gauge at that than myself, with the global consultants. I'm speaking to a fair few, I've been in contact with a fair few, but at the same time, um, I'm seeing that there is a lot of global consultants in each region, and you probably have noticed that yourself. There's no barrier of entry. Um, it's who knows who, pretty much, right?
That's right. It's like you can say it used to be like 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, that you need to have a degree. You need to have a law degree. You need to have an accountancy degree, CPA, tax advisor, or whatever. Nowadays, I see it's. I mean, if you have internet access with AI, you can be a global consultant. So yes, it's there's no it's not just about global consultant, by the way.
Yeah,
If you know I mean, I've met a lot of people, and I would say this: I've met a lot of people who have no background in very complicated things, and they help. Sometimes it could be friends, it could be family, in a very complicated issues, even cross border, and they have fixed it. They have done it. They need the eager, they need the understanding, and they need a proper AI. That's my idea. So the idea that the knowledge is limited into one individual, or one company, or one jurisdiction, or one country, there's no limits anymore. Anyone can start anything, and he have the tools and the knowledge, he can do it. That's the idea. You don't need degrees. You don't need fancy universities. You don't need fancy offices. You just need to have consistent, and you need to build. I mean, at the beginning, lastly, you can say 5 years ago, I say that you need to have a degree, you need to have an experience, you need to work in a proper office before advising anyone.
yeah,
But actually, it's. I mean, with the AI, the last 3 years, it's been
it,
fascinating. One things I would like to add, that
mm,
regarding global consultants, actually the problem now, it's not about AI or the knowledge. The I can call them the regulators in each country. For example, in Southwest Australia, they
yep,
have a regulator for law, for tax, for the idea that these regulators, and they everywhere, in the US and Canada, Australia, and Ireland,
yep,
and the EU, most of the countries have regulators to regulate professional services.
yep,
And these regulators actually still living in the 1990s.
yeah,
They are still trying to force rules and put a regulation on top. They are not ready for what is coming from the next. I will not say a couple of years. It could be a couple of months because ChatGPT 5 is coming very soon, and it could be like game changing. I've been using these tools almost 4 years ago now, was a very early stage, but now they are getting. It's not just about the taking businesses from professional service providers, but anyone who know how to use them will be able to benefit a lot and go far beyond anyone can think. So the traditional service providers, whatever they are, lawyers, accountants, or even doctors or medical, they will be sweep, and I call them the new kids on the block will take a lot of business. There's a lot of startups in the AI that can do a lot for far more less and help a lot of individuals. It will be like they will not be able to help everyone at the beginning, because it will be like um, they will help geeks at the beginning and the people
Yep.
nerds who know how to use the tools, and there will be like a little bit of adoption and there will be mass adoption. But now, for example, ChatGPT have 800 plus million individuals. I can say 1% only of the 800 million can use them properly.
Yep.
But if you can, 1% of 800 million is a large number. It's like equal to all the numbers of lawyers and accountants in many countries. So that's the idea. So global consultants are here to stay. The more you build individuals, but the only missing thing, as you mentioned, is about the trust. You need to build
That's
trust
right.
with individuals, with
Yeah.
service provider. Building a
Yeah.
brand based on trust. It's not how fast you can get 1 million subscriber into YouTube. It's actually how you can start with the first 10 clients and build trust with them and build a partnership with them until you go to have the 1,000 and then the 10,000 and then the 100K clients. So that's the idea of building trust here.
Yeah, it's like a it's a relationship business, pretty much, right? Because you're servicing them for a lifetime, right? You know what I mean? You're their expert, right? You have your board of advisors, and you play a part in that category. So, you know, we have our accountants, we have our dentists, um, you know, we have our teachers. So, you know, it's just one aspect of it. Yeah, for AI to completely replace it, I don't think it will ever replace it. Just like events, you know, we thought that virtual events will completely take over, but it actually the opposite side happened, right? Like when COVID finished, oh, events blew up. You know, all of my events, like we did record numbers because people were craving that experience. People wanted to see each other. They wanted to connect. They just want to see people face to face. Even when people were working from home, that's why we moved into hybrid. But people still want that balance. But yeah, great insight from you, Mo.
Yeah, totally agree. So the number five here is something you come up with. It's about women without borders. That's your topic, so I will leave you to give it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Look, I think over the last few decades, right, there's been a especially well in first world, second world, and third world, there's been there's been a change, there's been a shift in equality of females, of females coming into the workplace, professional workplace, you know, and then building a career for themselves, right? The stay-at-home mom days are over. You know, and
yes,
yeah, you have your modern day woman, you know, these days, you know, and they're striving, you know, they're striving to become more, right? They want to become more. They want to build. They want to innovate. You know, not saying that they don't want a family. It's just, you know, not a full priority these days, just because the world is getting expensive, it is getting more competitive, and that forces not just a one provider in the house anymore. You need a second provider because it's so expensive. And so, you know, why this is important now, because we're seeing a change and an increase in females, you know, growing in the industry, you know, being entrepreneurs, finding a voice for themselves. And I think that And I think that as we move into, as the world changes and develops more, we're just going to see more and more of having equality between genders, being in the business mode for sure. What do you
Yeah,
think,
I've
man?
seen. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, I can relate to this. There's a lot of, I can call them nomad families who have 2 or 3 kids and they keep
Yeah,
traveling with them. It's not easy, but I mean, especially after COVID, there is a lot of parents
yeah,
decided to go into the online education route for their kids.
yeah,
The idea that you need to stick into one place so you can go to the school in daily basis, it was extremely hard before 2020. The number of people who go into the online education was limited to a little bit of extra education, whether they have special needs or they have
yeah,
religious
yeah,
requirements or they would like to stick out of the system. But nowadays, I've seen a lot of, especially even because schools actually are getting much more expensive. I mean, the amount of knowledge you're getting into the schools, the idea that the kid could go there to spend at least 15 years of his primary time than school on a daily
yeah,
basis.
yeah,
It's amount of money that you spend, and then the amount of restrictions. People now, especially families, would like to travel more, enjoy life more, and don't want to stuck into one place. So there's 2 things that's happening. The nomad families, people, I mean, I, I, I mean, during, let's say, 2022 and 2023, I was traveling between London, Dubai, Istanbul a lot of times, and I've met a lot of families when I, especially in when we check in into the airplanes with kids, and they tell me, "Are you living in London or Istanbul? Are you living in London or Dubai?" And I explain them I live between the places,
both,
and
yeah,
I get a lot of people who say, "Can you help us? We would like to relocate from London or move to, because the kids now we have more flexibility. What kind of
yeah,
schools on online education that you can advise us or what?" So the idea now people accept it, and if you put this on top of that, that women who are individuals, entrepreneurs who are build wealth and build knowledge, they don't want to stuck in one country. They might they might stay in a couple of weeks or a couple of months in London, but they would like to enjoy also the sunny side in Dubai or Singapore and Bali. I myself know a lot of female entrepreneurs in Bali, especially, and they do a lot of businesses. They
yeah,
do a lot of remote businesses, and it's a growing community. The number of female entrepreneurs or women without borders are growing rapidly. They acquire residency, they acquire properties, they investing, they are changing many things because it's the they're trying to. And one of the things that women do, men don't do, especially, they would like to belong. When we go to another destination or another country, especially
yeah,
in Bali, they love the place and they would like to settle roots. You know, uh,
yeah,
men have
yeah.
more adventurous way that they keep
Yeah,
traveling. Most
we're
of
much,
them,
yeah, yeah. We want more. We want to see the world, right? We want to take on the world.
yeah.
Females, they find their tribe. What I was reading with, like quite interesting with female entrepreneurs is that majority of that wealth that's being transferred from baby boomers will be inherited by females. And when this study came out, the females will ideally invest into things with purpose, with impact, and that's quite like that relates with what they like, rather than wanting more. That's the difference with I guess males.
Yeah, so can't agree more. That's the idea. So, I mean, we have almost 35 minutes now of the episode. We have covered the introduction. We have gone into the first 5 episodes that we will discuss. We still have another 5 episodes to discuss, but I'll
Yeah,
go through them rapidly. But we'll go into them into we can say this is the first pilot of the mini series between Global Expat and Plan X.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we can discuss the other 5 in the pilot number 2. We will do in maximum
Yeah,
2 weeks
I
from
reckon
now.
we definitely need to do that again. I was not prepared.
That's fine. That's fine. It's
You know what? I thought we were going to talk about the first topic, Plan B, what it means in 2025. And so I prepared everything for that topic. And so when you said, "Okay, Frankie, what is Plan X about?" I was like, "Oh shit."
That's fine. It's the idea of the podcast generally that I like to have a script, but it's much better to have something off the script, because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
more you are off script, the more you are natural and you keep
yeah,
thinking, and that's and you always remember this, because it's being 100% to a script at the podcast. It's so let's go through the one by one. Number six,
mm,
it incites CPIs, a citizenship by investment, the real
yeah,
stories behind second passport. Number seven, passport bros and modern mobility. Number eight, offshore playbook, how to actually pay zero taxes. Number nine, family global planning, real estate, schools, and strategy, similar to women in border with different perspective. Number 10, on the last, expat, real talk, mistakes, listen, and wins. So to take into the perspective, we would like also, it's not just me, Mo and Frankie, but we would like also to invite guests.
yeah, for
So
sure.
this is like an open invitation to anyone who would he or she, whatever, that working into the industry, would like to share a story, have something to have a knowledge, or would like to get to know more. It's like we are opening the floor to anyone who can be guest with us, and we'll leave our contact details on the and the description of the different platforms once we finish the recording. So that will be the plan for the Plan X and Global Expat. It's a very interesting, you can say, mini series. We have a lot of topics to cover. Frankie have a lot of experience himself. I also share a lot of experience in different perspective, but we all also inviting anyone to join us, whatever they have an even if they have another idea, or totally another perspective, that will give us more audience and more ideas to share in the next episodes.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds great. Sounds great. Do you have access? Like, do you have a fair few people that you would want to reach out to on top of
Yes,
your mind?
definitely. We can. Yes, I mean, this is like an open invitation. We can share this video
Okay.
like a full format and different reels. But I mean, at the end, you would like to um, give like a perspective about what we discussed, frankly, so we can close the episode.
Sorry. Do what?
I
Sorry.
mean, do you have like a closing remarks so we can finish this episode together?
Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, it was a great conversation.
Okay, that's it.
No, thank you for joining in on with us, guys. You know, happy to it was great, having this conversation with Mo and setting up the foundation intro series between Global Expat and Plan X. So we're excited to give you great insights, real life experiences, and making sure that you guys get a ton of value.
Definitely, definitely.
Thank
Okay,
you.
as always, stay global, my friends, and see you in the next episode. Thanks so much
Yeah,
for watching.
thank you. Stay global.